Hey, my name is Brennan Dunn. I'm one of the co-founders of Right Message. I'm so happy that you're here today because I'm going to be unpacking a ton of content about personalization and segmentation. I don't have a lot of time, so I want to make sure I jump right into the lesson that I put together for you. So here we go. All right. So this talk is called Why One Size Fits All Hurts Your Business and Your Customers. When it comes to your features and even your benefits, so I know a lot of you are SaaS founders, when it comes to your features and your benefits, one size does not fit all. Try to find ways to connect what you do or what you have to what each individual finds personally meaningful. So this quote is from Kathy Sierra, who's one of my all-time internet heroes. You might remember her from the Head First Java series, but this is from a blog post of hers from, I think, around 2006, and she was talking about how important personalization is for the user experience that people have engaging with digital products. And I want to have this quote kind of anchor the rest of this talk, because most of us, we implicitly know how important it is to personalize content. So, if I'm trying to sell you something in person, you better believe I'm taking into account who are you, what do I know about you, how are you acting, how are you behaving, and so on. And I'm going to tailor the way that I sell to you over the phone or in person based on that data. So what I'm going to be talking about today are 5 different ways that you can use those same signals to change the way that you speak to people at scale on your website and over email. So personalization as a concept is all the rage. If you look online, look at any of these marketing predictions, all these articles are talking about how this is a trend that businesses are capitalizing on, so on and so forth. The problem, though, is that even though it's a hot topic, there's really not much going in terms of implementation just yet. So for a lot of SaaS founders that I've spoken to, there's a ton of uncertainty. So do we invest in personalization? And if we do, will it actually yield results for us? There are very few concrete how-tos. So telling somebody to personalize their website is one thing, but telling them what to actually do is a totally different thing. So until more recently, there really hasn't been a ton of comprehensive how-tos out there. And historically, it has not been easy. Personalization used to involve hiring a coder and getting them to write custom code that interfaces with your backend data or behavioral data and makes content changes based off that. It has not been something that has really been built into any of the major content management systems or whatnot. And there was a tweet by my friend Sam Hulick. You might know of him. He does useronboarding.com. And he was saying that back in April, he was saying that the more he researches UX personalization, the more he's having a user onboarding in 2013 vibe all over again. So little out there, and this is going to be such a big deal soon. And I love this reply. Where should someone start go to start reading? And his response was literally a Google search on personalization. So my job here today is I want to cover, I don't want, you've probably thought about personalization. I want you to finish this talk and to have 5 different concrete strategies that you can start to apply immediately to start reaping the benefits of personalization. Now, I own a company that builds software that makes this sort of stuff easy. My job here is not to sell you on my software or anything like that, but I do want to bring to light a lot of the underlying data that we have on our customers to show you specifically what some companies have done and what effect that's had on them. Because I know if you're thinking about, do I invest in spending the time and the money on personalization, is it worth it? So I'm going to try to hopefully answer that question by showing you some actual case studies. So quick overview of who I am. I'm not the focus of this talk, so I'm going to run through this slide. My background is I used to own a digital agency about a decade ago. Got sick of seeing all these friends of mine who were making a lot of money in SaaS. So I started a software company called PlanScope, project management software for agencies and freelancers. In doing PlanScope, I did a lot of content marketing and wrote about freelancing and consulting. That took off. That became wfreelancing.com, which is really the big business that I guess I started that got me some recognition. And in building that company, I did a lot with on-site personalization for that website. So if you're a designer, you would see testimonials from designers, coders would see testimonials from developers, and all these different changes that I'd make to sales pages and just the general website. That really worked. So that's what led me to co-found about a year ago, Right Message. I'm co-founder, my partner Shai, he's the technical co-founder, and we've been rocking really since January 23rd of 2018. So the 5 mistakes that I want to cover, the first mistake is one that I see happening pretty much everywhere. And it's one of the easiest things to solve, I think, using with personalization. And that is showing the same headlines to everyone. So strategy. So every mistake, I'm going to introduce a strategy. So the strategy is to fix. So the first strategy is to personalize headlines based on referrer source. So we have a customer, Tom Mortz, who ran an online summit, as you can see, about a year ago, February of 2018. And what you're seeing here is the normal headline for the registration page for that summit. So what Tom did is he found a bunch of people who would promote his summit. So he found myself, John Lee Dumas, a bunch of other people agreed to promote this to their list. And obviously anyone who went to the summit, registered, and then bought the recordings, we would get an affiliate cut. So what Tom did is, he gave me swipe copy, he gave all of us swipe copy. And what I did is I sent a very personalized email, or personal, I should say, email to my list. Not personal, but I sent an email to my list that was written knowing who my audience is. So these are freelancers. These are people, most of which who do not have a product just yet, but they want to eventually get into products. So when I tried to promote Tom's event, I took that into account. I know my audience, I know what they need, and so on. So what I did is when my list was sent to this registration page, they saw a headline that said, grow your freelancing business with new streams of income from products. That matched the email announcement copy, that matched pretty much the where they are in their business. So these are, again, most of the people who want to get into products. So this is what they saw. But when Steve Dimmick, who helps authors, sent his audience to the same registration page, all Tom did was he made it so the headline would change to talk about how to turn your book into a 6-figure revenue stream. So myself and about 24 other people all did this, and each of us had different headlines depending on, so when I sent my audience, they'd see one headline, Steve sends his audience, they see a different one, John Lee Dumas sends his, they see a different one, and so on. The impact that had was 44% more registrations, which translates into, it did translate into tens of thousands of additional revenue for that online summit, just by changing a headline. What did that do? That made people less likely to close a tab and to click the back button. They saw a headline that matched what they were being promoted, and they kept reading the page and eventually clicked to register. So that was a huge win for Tom. And you see this a lot, or you see potential for this a lot with things like software where you have affiliates or influencer types who either review you or send you traffic or whatever else. So here's ConvertKit. ConvertKit, this is their homepage at the time of when I took the screenshot. Email marketing for online creators. Simple. That's their kind of market, right? When Pat Flynn, who's ConvertKit's #1 affiliate, sends ConvertKit traffic, he's sending them to a landing page that has his photo, a quote from him, a hero picture of Pat on stage. Because if you think about it, the people who read Pat's website, Smart Passive Income, they know Pat, they trust Pat, they read his stuff, they know, they respect the heck out of this guy. So when he promotes something and he leaves, they leave Smart Passive Income, in this case to go over to ConvertKit.com, it makes sense to carry over that social proof from that influencer, from that affiliate, right? So, compare this to their default, night and day. And in terms of results, while ConvertKit is sending people to a dedicated landing page, this is not a modified homepage or anything like that. Having talked to Nathan Barry, their CEO, this has been measurably much higher in the terms of 3-figure percent increases in terms of how many more people who come from Smart Passive Income end up turning into a ConvertKit customer. So we have another customer, Bookify, and what they do is they build scheduling software. So they have a Capterra listing, which I'm sure a lot of you have, whether it's Capterra or different review sites to see new traffic. Capterra, they're rated the #1 scheduling software in Capterra's category of appointment scheduling software. So what they did is when Capterra sends them traffic, so when they click visit website over here, and Capterra sends them over, they changed their headline to be Capterra's highest rated scheduling software. So it went from their generic headline, which was something like online booking software or something like that, to Capterra's highest rated, again, transferring over that social proof. And what impact that had? Well, the impact that had for Bookify was the average Capterra referral converted to trial at 2.7%. When they changed the headline to just talk about Capterra, that jumped up to 7.8%. That's almost a 300% increase. So if you can control your inbound links, you can use landing pages. So you could have Capterra, yourcompany.com/Capterra, yourcompany.com/PatFlynn, something like that. But you could also go out and use personalization software, for instance, to make it so when a referrer sends a certain traffic or there's an affiliate ID in that URL that sends them over, you could then make it so, on the sign up page, there's the person who referred them, just to make it so, again, that message carries over. All right, second mistake, showing the same calls to action to everyone. So strategy #2 I want to cover is to use dynamic CTAs to position on the fly your opt-in lead magnet. So what do I mean by this? Well, let's say that you're Googling guide to, you're trying to figure out how to onboard clients. So you type in guide to client onboarding. You see this, the second URL goes to my site. So the Freelancer's Guide to Client Onboarding. You come over here, there's an opt-in, there's a lead magnet specific to the thing you're reading about, right? Content upgrades like this convert so well, usually 10+%. Now, conversely, generic, boring opt-ins like newsletter opt-in type things, you're lucky to get 2%. So the middle ground is what are called dynamic call to action. So something in between a content upgrade and a universal call to action. So what would that be? So let's say that somebody is on creative block and they're reading this article, and the first thing is saying don't work without getting paid. And there's a quote from me that links to my site. So they click over. And again, this is a site read by designers. So they come over. Now, when they're here, they're seeing, this is where that links to, this kind of topics portal. So this is what they see, writing proposals that win you projects. But what do I know about these people? They came from a design blog. They're interested in probably proposal stuff since that's what they clicked over about. So what I'm able to do now is whenever these people see a call to action anywhere on my site, whether it's the homepage hero or end of article calls to action, they're seeing designers find out how to close more proposals. Designers write winning proposals. Designers proposals. And I'm doing this by tracking what kind of content they're reading. And I'm classifying them as a designer because they came from a design blog, right? So the impact that this has had is for my newsletter, or my email course, I should say, not newsletter, which is my primary lead magnet. I changed the way I describe it based on what kind of business you run and what kind of content are you reading. And that's had a 252% increase in conversions. And that seems huge, but when you look at it, it was 2.1%, which is about average. The personalized is 5.3%, which is much higher than average. Now, if I had content upgrades for every article, that would be even higher than this, right? But what's nice is now I don't need to go and build out a unique content upgrade per article because I found that middle ground. So one thing that you can start with is to create category or theme-specific variations of your site-wide CTA. So there's a lot of WordPress plugins and so on that can do this without you needing to do anything with personalization software. You could just change the call to action that you put on, say, a blog post, depending on the category of content that blog post is in. All right, third mistake, showing the same landing page to all paid traffic. Now, this is a big one. Every marketer knows that you need to have a single, every ad should have its own unique landing page. Now, that becomes a maintenance nightmare. So let's say you have 80 different varieties of an ad campaign, right? Different targeting, different copy, different images, and so on. Maintaining 80 different, say, unbalanced or Instapage or lead page type variations is really hard to do. So what you can do is you can use ad targeting and messaging of the ads to create dozens or hundreds of landing page variations on the fly. So an example of this would be, let's say you're teamwork.com, you sell project management software, you have an ad campaign, one of which is targeting agencies, the other is targeting SaaS startups. Again, maintaining all these different permutations of these is going to be really difficult. So what you could do is what I typically recommend people do is to pass along information in the URL from the ad that includes info about who is this ad targeting and what is it saying. And what I do with that data is I use it to then change core parts of the page. So what we've seen work best is, depending on who it's targeting, change up the social proof. If it's targeting agencies, show the agency testimonial. Targeting SaaS, show SaaS testimonial, so on and so forth. Also change the benefits. So, say you're listing out benefits on a landing page or something like that, change them depending on, a marketer has different concerns than a technical person, right? So you want to highlight different benefits based on the person who's coming over. And again, they're self-segmenting by the fact that they're clicking an ad that's only running to a certain type of person. Ad content. So what is it saying? Is it talking about this pain or that pain? Change the headline on that landing page to reflect, right? So, and this also has a nice side benefit of increasing quality score ratings too. So we have a customer who wants to remain anonymous, but what they've done is they've had a funnel from AdWords to this page that has been running for the last 4 years or so. And it's always converted fairly well, about 20% or so. And what they did is they used us to change just the stuff I talked about, bullet points, headlines, and so on, based on the ad that was clicked. And the consultation requests rate went from 20% to 42% overnight. So this was, again, an existing funnel that had been working really well, pretty much doubled in performance in one fell swoop. Intercom's done this too. So Intercom had they hired a sales engineer to go and build 300 variations of this page based on things like copy that is based on the search query. So this AdWords example, product images that are changed depending on the type of ad that was clicked on, different features based on the audience. Again, 300% lift in free trials just by doing this. And a lot of us who work in SaaS and run software companies and so on, who wouldn't we'd kill for these sort of low-hanging fruit things that take a few hours of setup to yield permanent results like this. And it makes sense why this works, right? Because people want to see the product that seemingly is a niche product that's made just for them. So what I would encourage you to do as a takeaway from this is to focus on creating continuity across ads and landing pages. So if the ad is saying XYZ, make the landing page say XYZ. If the ad is saying ABC, have it say ABC. Take into account the targeting of that ad along with the copy and what pain that this is speaking towards and so on, and just mirror that. And that creates that continuity and makes people more likely to convert. Fourth mistake, treating all leads identically is costing you sales and lots of them. So the strategy to fix this is to progressively segment your audience using surveys and behavior. So we did a survey of Right Message's audience, and 3/4 of them only segment their list. So I'm talking about their email marketing list by whether they're a customer or non-customer. So tag them as customer or something like that. And there's so much potential out there for being able to enrich your email marketing database and then to ultimately get that data on your website. So when people that you email are now on your website, you're able to pull from that ESP data to be able to make changes. So you can use Clearbit. Clearbit's a great way to be able to get an email address and a return back industry information, company size, and so on. You can ask questions at the point of an opt-in. You can use trigger links in your emails to say, click one that best represents you. You can use formal assessments or quizzes. So you can use Typeform and different tools to do that. And you can also look at on-site behavior. So where they come from, what pages are they viewing, what kind of content are they reading, and all of these different things should be synced up to your email marketing database. So if I'm on your website, I'm binging articles about proposals, I should be pitched at some point about your proposal course or software or something like that. So one of the things that we're doing now is part of Right Messages, we have a thing called Right Ask, which is a really nice off-the-shelf way of being able to set up some really passive questions that you can ask of your audience. And then when they click on one of these answers, that's synced up to Drip, ConvertKit, Infusionsoft, HubSpot, whatever it is you use. And that data is pulled down. So once they're back, say they're back on their phone or something or a different device, we know who they are. And if we know they're a designer, we're not going to ask them what kind of work they do. And this has been super helpful. So this is an example of how I'm running it on W Freelancing. I ask people a series of questions. One of them is, what kind of work do you do? And when they tell me they're a designer, as they move around the website, they're seeing in-depth training for designers, articles and in-depth guides for freelance designers, designer, social proof. They go to a sales page, testimonials from designers. It allows me to niche my website on the fly without actually having to have a niche website. And this has been super useful because I'm able to see high-level stats. So, a lot of people might use Hotjar or something like this to do these kind of surveys and get this high-level stat data, which is huge. But I'm also storing the data individually against the information that I have about them in my backend. I'd encourage you, this is something you can start doing immediately. When people opt in your email list or something like that, you can send them emails that have trigger links. So most email marketing apps allow you to do this. And when they click one of these links, have that write data to their subscriber record. So, for instance, why did you join this course? I'm just starting out and I want some guidance on what do I charge. They click that, I put them in the beginner segment. So then when I go to promote something, I can either promote specific things to them, or when I position a certain thing that I'm going to sell, I can change the language to be more beginner friendly and talk about how this will help them as a beginner versus somebody who's looking to scale and looking to kind of grow big. They're going to see different messaging. So I've done this for pretty much all of my sales pages on W Freelancing, along with even writemessage.com for our pricing page and so on. And this has been hugely valuable. For instance, I'm now getting on that sales page, the W Freelancing Rate sales page, 66% more sales through the funnel that leads people there just by capturing 9 different data points about who they are, how big their team is, are they solo, an agency, also things like what are they currently struggling with, why did they join the free course, the free email course that led them here. So they joined because they're losing proposal after proposal. When they get to the sales page at the end of that funnel, it's going to really focus on how this will help them with proposals. So I would encourage you to start to collect as much information as you can that you can act on. So, here's an example of somebody in my database. I know that they're a translator, that they are interested in branding and positioning because that's what they're reading most of on my website. They've told me they want one-on-one help, coaching, mentorship, that they're currently pricing themselves as a commodity, that they're solo, they've been around 1 to 3 years, they bought W Freelancing Rate, and I've calculated that the next thing that they should buy is this video pass based on what they bought or haven't bought. So I'd encourage you to start thinking, who are your leads or your customers, and what do they want from you? The who and the what. How do they self-identify? Use that to change up things about like the benefits of your products, along with social proof of other people like them. And then the what. Use that to influence headlines and really the offers to speak toward the what that they need from you. And you can also, one easy thing to do without personalization software would be, say you're sending out emails that are linking people to your sales pages. A quick hack would be to clone that sales page, say 2 or 3 times. Sales page A is for this persona, sales page B is for this one, and just use conditionals within your email marketing app to spit out different links. All right, 5th mistake, last mistake. Thinking that everyone on your site is anonymous and isn't on your list. So this is a huge one for me. One thing you can do is you can display different calls to action based on where someone is in your funnel. I hate it when I'm on an email list and I get an email, I click on that email, it's announcing a new blog post, I go over to their blog, and I'm hit with a pop-up asking for my email address. It's like, you just emailed me a second ago. Why do you need this? So one thing that I'd encourage you to do is think about what is your customer life cycle. So for SaaS, it might be you're anonymous, you're on your list, maybe you've done a webinar, now you started a trial, and now you're a customer, maybe now you're an annual customer. And you've got, every company has a funnel like this. So one thing I'm doing, so you can see here, I have this kind of sticky bar at the top. I've got different things that are showing universally across my whole site, depending on where somebody is in that funnel. And what I'm doing is I have within my email marketing app, I am calculating what they should be pitched, the next offer, based on things like, have they bought this? Have they bought that? Have this, in the case of Write Message, have they started a trial? Have they, churned on their trial or something like that? And what I can do is when they come back now, I can pull that next offer field And I can say, if next offer is set to this, promote this. If it's that, promote that. And this has been hugely valuable to keep this information attached to that subscriber record. So, we have a tool called Right Bar with the right message that lets you, it's kind of like Hello Bar, but what it lets you do is it lets you change the top sticky bar based on where somebody is in your funnel. So you map out the funnel, anonymous subscriber, done this, done that, and then you can change out the different offers. We're starting with this. We're about to roll out exit pop-ups, slide-ups, and all these different widgets that complement this. But even if you're not, doing something like using software like ours, you could be doing this now. You could go into your email marketing app and you can set it up. So let's say you send out a weekly newsletter. You could have the PS at the end of that email that goes out every week that will just change depending on what that next offer is. So, they're a subscriber, but they haven't done a trial. Get them to go to, or subscriber, but haven't attended your webinar yet. Get them to register for that webinar. Attend the webinar, but still haven't started a trial. Get them to start a trial. Current monthly customer, you'd love to get them on annual. PS, save 20% by upgrading annual, and you're able to kind of push that messaging out constantly. And all you need to do is just email the whole list with your newest blog post or something like that. And you can write different template logic in your email marketing app that will switch out those different offers automatically. We have another customer, Fizzle. What they're doing in this, I love things like this, is they know that they email new blog posts to their list. So when their list comes back to their blog, guess what? They're not seeing the giant hero opt-in any longer. They're working on changing it out to be, if they are on their list, they'll push them to a trial, start a free trial. But that's the next step. They just haven't set that up yet. Another customer, we've got Musical You. What they do, it's so radically simple, but makes sense. If you are anonymous, they strip out every competing call to action in their nav bar, and they keep it really simple. They want you to join. And the effect has been they get 55% more people going to the join page when they eliminate competing call to actions. So again, it's little things like this, right? Where you're saying, hey, I know them. They are already on my list. Cool, let's push them here now. But I don't know them. Let's get rid of distractions. Let's funnel them down this different path. So that's been huge for them too. So I encourage you, don't show opt-in calls to action or calls to action to your subscribers, or purchase calls to action to your customers. So again, if they're on your list, don't show them an opt-in. If they are a customer, they've already bought the thing that you would generally promote, don't promote that. Promote the more premium thing, promote the upgrade, promote something like that. And also create a next offer custom field in your email service provider and use it to create more relevant call to action. So get that next offer data on your website, but also use it in your emails you send out, and then pivot around that. So I want to close by just saying that personalization really is not anything new. As I was saying, it's something that, if I'm talking with you in person, trying to sell you, in person, you better believe I'm personalizing the way that I present my offer to you based on who you are. The big thing that I want to leave you with, though, is that this does not need to be overwhelming. So a lot of people might think of this as like a giant project, like a redesign of a website. But really, I've been doing this since 2012. And I started out by just hiding my opt-ins for subscribers. I was on Infusionsoft back in the day. That's what I was using to do this. I just passed along the contact ID and the URL when I sent out emails. If I saw that, they wouldn't see an opt-in. You can start small, start simple. Start segmenting. If you haven't yet segmented your list and found out who they are and what they want, I would focus on doing that now, because you can't really effectively personalize until you have segmentation data. So the if is segments, the then is the personalized content, right? So I would encourage you to sit back and think, what can you do today to make what you say and the way that you say it more relevant to each and every person who engages with your product, with your website, with your emails, and so on. Thank you. And if you have any questions at all and want to reach out, I'm Brennan Dunn on Twitter. That's BRENNAN, DUNN, and I'd love to talk with you there.